Thank you to everybody that helped with the trunk or treat, Trunks of Love last night. What a joy and what a fun time it was. It was different, but we want to thank everybody that came and helped. We want to thank everybody that came and drove by and got candy and brought your little ones and had a cute unicorn last night. She's sitting right back there. And a dinosaur, too. I don't see him, but he's digging. The dinosaur's down underneath there. But it was so good to see everybody, and we were able to, as they drove through, we had just a short message playing on the radio that just shared the gospel and reminded people that they don't have to be scared during this time. And we're just so thankful. We had one young man that drove up, and he thanked us for the candy, but then he pointed to the radio and said, "Thank you for this." And I know it really made an impact, and we're thankful for that. We're thankful for everybody that helped. Also, another special thanks to everybody that comes and cleans and sanitizes our building every Sunday. A lot of you don't see all that, but when we get done here, a crew has to come in the next week and sanitize and wipe everything down so that we can be in church. So I'm thankful for them as well, and they probably string me up if I said their names, and then I might forget somebody. So I just want to say thank you to all of you as well. We're going to start a new series today, and we're going to be in Matthew chapter 5. Matthew chapter 5. We'll be in Matthew chapter 5 for the entire month of November, and we're starting a new series today, so we'll tell you what that is in just a moment. But I don't know about you, but have you ever felt like everything was going okay and then it kind of flipped? Been there? How many have been there? Yeah. I want to, if it's okay, I know this is Sunday morning church and it's not a youth meeting, but if it's okay, I'd like to play a little game with you, kind of test your memory, because I know everything's been stressful and crazy, so we're just going to play a little game today. Is that all right? Cool. Now, I'm going to show you some pictures on the screen. Now, these pictures, there's one difference you're going to notice. The pictures on the screen you're going to notice are upside down. And that's okay. They're supposed to be. But I want you to see if you notice anything else about them. Give them a minute to get me working here. Okay. Maybe you know who that is. That's Kanye West. I'll leave all other comments alone. That's Adele, yeah? Give you a minute to study Adele, see if you notice anything. Now, this next one you may not know. Anybody know who that is? Margaret Thatcher. Good job, guys. Get an A for history today. Well, did you notice anything else? They're all smiling. Very good. Anything else? Well, these pictures, their eyes, yeah, okay, you're close, Harlan. These pictures are a 30 to 40-year-old science experiment that has just become popular again on TikTok. And there's a psychologist by the name of Smith who has put out TikTok videos with this phenomenon. It's called the Thatcher phenomenon, or the Thatcher effect. And what it is, anybody ever heard of it? What it is in every one of these pictures, the picture is upside down, but the mouth and the eyes are right side up. But we didn't notice that. Most of your brains did not think that. Now, when you put the pictures the right way, with the mouth the way they were on the pictures, you notice it. It's different now. We understand it, right? We notice it. And then here's Margaret. They thought originally that hers was the only face it worked with. But it works with just about anybody. It's called the Thatcher effect. And the thing is, we got used to seeing the face upside down, but we didn't notice the small things that were flipped. Right? And then when everything was totally flipped around, then we noticed the small things that were flipped. I don't know about you, but I feel like that's my world right now. I didn't realize going along, I thought everything was kind of upside down, and there were little things being flipped back and forth, and I didn't really get it. But now I see the whole thing flipped over again, and it scares me just a little bit. Doesn't it you? I think all of us, even those that seem to be the most spiritual around us, we think sometimes, how's it going to get any worse, or is it ever going to get any better? They have totally flipped the script. Feel that way? But how do we react? You know, we're in church today, and there's a lot of people out there watching us that say, well, I'm a follower of Jesus, and this just really trips me out. So how are we to react when everything is upside down? How do we react? It's tough to navigate, isn't it? But we're going to be talking in the next few weeks about how to navigate in an upside-down world. How to navigate in an upside-down world. And you may say, well, I'm not a follower of Jesus. I don't understand. Well, you just listen. Because these truths will give you a little understanding on how to navigate. But I don't know about you, I want to navigate this world correctly because as Jesus is my Savior, I know that when I die, I have a hope and I'm going to heaven. So I want to navigate and not get hung up in an upside-down world, right? I don't know if you've ever had this experience, but have you ever been to a fun house? I know they don't have those as much as they used to, but I know when I was little, they had an amusement park that had a fun house. They had different things, and there was one area where you'd walk through, and the floor was slanted like this. And then all the furniture was on the ceiling. Well, my dad had my hand. That was the rule. And as we were getting ready to turn the corner, he said, son, the floor's going to slant, and the furniture's going to be on the ceiling. Just keep walking. And you lean on me if you start to tilt. Well, there's two things. We heard people screaming as he turned the corner. We heard bumping and carrying on, people stumbling. I turned the corner. Daddy had my hand. There were two things. First of all, I have cerebral palsy. One leg shorter than the other, and it just so happened to lean on that short leg. So everybody else is going this way. I'm standing just about straight. Secondly, if I started to teeter a little bit, I leaned on Daddy. Because I had trusted in my Father, He had already told me what was ahead, so I knew how to navigate when everybody else was bumping, sliding, and crashing into each other. Well, see, Jesus has already told us how to navigate. He's already taught us how to navigate. In Matthew chapter 5, He tells us how to navigate. In an upside-down world, He tells us how to navigate. Starting at verse 1. And seeing the multitude, He went up into the mountain, and when He was set, His disciples came unto Him. And He opened His mouth, and He taught them, saying. Now, catch this. Seeing the multitudes. There was a bunch of people there, right? He went up into the mountain, and when He was set down, His disciples came unto Him. Did all the multitude come unto Him? No. But those that really wanted to know how to navigate, they came up on the mountain. If you really want to know how to navigate an upside-down world, you got to get close to the one who knows how to navigate it. See, everybody heard it, and there's a lot of people in this world. There's people watching today that are going to hear this, but they don't want to get close enough to the Master to navigate. We're just getting started. Hang on. And He opened His mouth and He taught them. He taught them. You see, John reminds us that in the beginning was the Word, and the Word was God, and the Word was with God. John 1:1, and the Word became flesh. That's Jesus. When the Word tells you, that's He's the creator of the Word. He's the instruction booklet. When He tells you, you ought to listen. There was an old commercial that said, when E.F. Hutton speaks, people listen. Well, let me tell you something. When Jesus speaks, we ought to listen because He's going to tell us. And let me tell you, navigating this old world does not come from the outside in. To navigate in an upside-down world, it must be from the inside out. We must get our eternal GPS fixed on Jesus, and then He will begin to change us. So, how do we navigate? From the inside out. I'll never forget a dear sister in Ohio that played her tambourine, and the guy that would introduce her always said, here she comes with her tangerine, and she'd get up there and she'd sing, something on the inside, working on the outside, something on the inside, working on the outside, I know it is the Spirit of the Lord. Now hold on. Y'all just sit here while I sang my toenails off. Just like nothing was on the inside working on the outside. If something's on the inside working on the outside, it's going to come out, isn't it? Right? So let's try it again. Now you know it. Something on the inside working on the outside. Something on the inside working on the outside. I know it is the Spirit of the Lord. Woo! Write that down. Not only did you sing it, but everybody clapped on beat. It's a good day in the Lord. Something on the inside working on the outside. That's how we navigate. It doesn't come from the out. It comes from within. And the first thing that we remember today, and we're going to look at sections of this, of how He tells us so we can take each thing and work on it each week. Because how many of you have read Matthew 5 and you've read those Beatitudes, right? Those are wonderful. Aren't they just great? How many of you are like me, though? You read them and go, that's all well and good, but first of all, that's a little King James English, and that sounds real royal and highfalutin. I don't know if I can manage all that. You ever feel that way? I have. When it gets down yonder to, them things like blessed be the peacemaker. Woo! Some days, right? Y'all laughing, I'm so glad. I'm glad nobody just sitting here looking like they got it all together today. But the first thing He says, now keep in mind, He is speaking to a world that is upside down. See, their culture's not that far removed from ours. He's speaking to an audience that the Jewish people were under Roman rule. The Romans had come in and they had pushed everything on them. All their religious practices, all their evilness, all their craziness, it had been pushed on them. And the religious folks of the day, it had just become a show. It had just become, we just go to church on Sunday. We just go to synagogue on Saturday. It's just what we do. And it had become a show. And Jesus came to flip the script and say, hey, you tired of living upside down? Let me flip you right side up. But it doesn't happen with the things you do on the outside. It happens what you do on the inside. He said, first, blessed. Now, I don't know about you, but when I would read that in the King James as a young little King Jamesite, blessed. Well, as a 16-year-old kid, blessed didn't mean much to me. Other than, Brian Lee Bridges, would you get your blessed self in here? That's about all I knew. Blessed, what's that mean? Well, some translations say happy, but that really doesn't get it. Because, see, we equate happiness with what happens on the outside. And we want to make ourselves happy. In fact, Pharrell said happiness is the truth. Wrong, Jesus is. Happy, that doesn't get it either. It's really the Greek word makarios, which means contented are you, completed are you, fulfilled are you if. And it comes from the inside, not from the outside. It's not natural. It doesn't come from natural, it comes from supernatural. Everybody with me? It comes from above. It doesn't come from just what we can get and what we can do. The world says, happy, contented are you if you got all the money in the world. What did Jesus say? Contented are you, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. See, to really navigate the first thing, and these first three beatitudes, as they're called, these first three contentments, they have to be molded by the Master. First, you have to realize that we need to be poor in spirit. Now, what does that mean, Brother Brian? I'm so glad you asked. It doesn't mean that we just live and don't have anything, and we just poor, or it also doesn't mean that we're so humble and pious that we never smile. I am as humble as a worm. So step on me, God, and watch me squirm. No, not it. Not happening. What it is the poor in spirit. See, the religious people of the day, they were not supposed to be poor. He'll fly away. Don't worry about him. They weren't supposed to be poor. They did not like poor people. They would cross the street to be away from poor people. But Jesus flipped the script and said, blessed or contented are the poor. The poor materially? No. The poor in spirit. See, they were walking around with their chest puffed out, thinking, I pray 4 or 5 times a day. I fast. I go to synagogue. I put ashes on my head, and I make everybody know how holy I am. But he said, wait a minute, happy are you if you're poor in spirit. Well, what's that mean in Eastern Kentucky language? Happy are you if you realize that you ain't nothing without God. Happy are you, contented are you if you realize you ain't nothing without God. There's a big movement in education today, and I'm not saying that we shouldn't give each other compliments, that we shouldn't give each other, help motivate positive self-esteem. But there's this whole thing now that we can't do anything that's going to hurt little Johnny's self-esteem. Well, a proper idea of self-esteem is, first of all, realizing that we ain't nothing without God. That if it wasn't for him, we wouldn't be here. So happy are you when you realize you ain't nothing without him. Oh, but you may walk around thinking you're the best thing since sliced bread. I got news for you. Your bread is molding from the moment you stepped on the earth. You're decaying, and the minute that God says it's time to go, and you can't control that. So when we realize, happy are you, when we realize that God is in control, basically, that we're poor in spirit. We don't have, now that don't mean we just walk around all shriveled up, looking like we was baptized in vinegar and been sucking on a green persimmon for 6 years, or we look like we died 3 months ago and just hadn't had the strength to lay down yet. That's not what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is this. I'm talking about that we realize that in ourselves and in our sinfulness, we are nothing, and God is everything. And when God comes in contact with sinful man through Jesus Christ, then we can have a life worth living, and happy are we. So it's got to be molded, though. We got to come every day and say, Lord, I know, looking at this cross, I was a sinful person. And I still have sinful attitudes that you got to root out. That don't mean I sin every day, but it does mean there's a possibility of it. And Lord, I pray that you would help me to realize who I am in you. And I know without you, I'm nothing, but with you, I'm everything. Y'all still with me? We're just getting started. Verse 4, blessed are they that mourn, for they shall be comforted. Now, wait a minute. Did you also know that Jesus is speaking to people that tears, especially the religious leaders of the day, they were men. So men weren't supposed to cry. The only time it was acceptable for you to truly mourn was when somebody died. And even then, It could be faked. Did you know that the amount of people you had crying and wailing at your funeral meant how well liked you were and how well off you were? They'd go around and pay people. Back then, there were professional mourners. We have them today. They don't just get paid for it. They look and see where a funeral is and they go, hoping there'll be some victuals they can eat, and they'll cry real loud. Nobody in here but people we know. Y'all know who I'm talking about. But people would mourn, and it became a show. But what Jesus is saying here is, happy are you, contented are you that mourn. Now that word mourn doesn't just mean to cry and cry for no reason. It means to be sorrowful, and it's connected to sin. To be sorrowful not only over your sin, but the sins of the world. That you mourn for what God mourns for. That you pray and you seek God, and a tear rolls down your cheek when you pray and you fast and you travail for the things that are going on in an upside down world. Because you will be comforted. That doesn't mean that it will end, but it means when you mourn over your sin and you're repentant in your heart and you come to God with an attitude of humility, saying, God, I need you. I ain't nothing without you. And if there's anything in me, show it, because I want to make it right. And I'm sorry if I've let you down. And you cry over it, then you will be comforted. If you seek God and you're tired of seeing the devil run up and down this world with your family and with your friends, and you're tired of seeing babies killed every day, and you're tired of seeing this thing and that thing, you're tired of the lies, you're tired of that, and it breaks your very heart, because it breaks the heart of God, you will be comforted. Happy and contented are you. But you have to be molded in that. You have to be molded in that mindset. You have to be molded in that, because we see stuff all the time and we get desensitized to it. You know, there's TV shows now that just every week it's a new murder and a new, Now, the fake ones I can understand. That's fake. That's not real. But then you got, the reality shows. 48 Hours, Dateline, NBC. And it's always the same guy come on. Dateline, old Lester Holt. And I like Lester. He dresses smooth. He's a smooth dresser. But he come on and be like, it was just a normal sunny day. And then she was gone. And we just buy into it like it's a narrative, like it's a story. But sometimes I got to check myself and realize these are real people. This is real tragedy. This is real life. And it should break my very heart. And not just be entertainment. And I'm preaching to me right there as well as you just heard it. But that takes molding. Lord, help me to mourn not only over my sins and over the things I might have done to hurt someone. You've heard me say from this pulpit that I apologize if I've ever hurt. My heart is not to hurt anybody. But that comes from being molded. And last, blessed are the meek, for they should inherit the earth. Now, some of us read that, blessed are the weak. That's not what meekness means. Meekness means power under control. Blessed are the gentle, for they shall inherit the earth. Let me break that down in eastern Kentucky. Happy are the gentle ones, for they will know where all the good stuff is. That's what it means. It doesn't mean they'll get what they want. It means they'll have favor. They'll have favor with God, and they'll have favor with men when they're gentle and they're meek. Can I throw something in for free? People that name the name of Christ, let us be careful how we gentle people on the internet. Oh, we have our opinions. Everybody's got one. But Jesus flipped the script. He didn't say, just because I disagree with you, I can be mad at you and go off and then say, God bless you later. Doesn't work that way. We give an answer, but we're gentle about it. I remember years ago, we took our youth group horseback riding. And I used to horseback ride when I was a kid for therapy for the cerebral palsy. And we took our kids horseback riding, and the lady that took us, her parents owned a farm, and her sisters, and so they took us down to their big farm, and she had already told them about the group, and she told them about me, and that I'd ridden horses but had cerebral palsy, and they were going to they were going to make sure that Brother Brian had the perfect horse for Brother Brian. Well, we get down there, and they said, you're going to be the lead horse. I can do it. I got this. I ain't watched Westerns all my life to not be the lead horse. John Wayne, eat your heart out. Well, they said, your horse is right around here. We're going to bring him out. And I heard the loudest whinny I've ever heard, and I heard a big kick. I said, ooh, I hope that ain't mine. Out come the biggest, blackest horse I have ever seen in my life. He was tall. His kind of nostrils were flared out, and he's kind of jerking a little bit. And I thought, whoa, this thing here. Hold up. This ain't Trigger. This ain't them little things I ride on the carousel. This thing is a big one. They come up, and I didn't even know how I was going to get on him. They said, oh, we got this. And they brought little steps to the side of the horse. Now, you know the horse is big when you got to climb steps to get on him. That's the truth. And they get that horse up there, and they said, this one's yours. I said, huh? They said, this one's yours. Now, let me tell you something about him. I said, oh, please do. Well, he was wild. Well, this is it. This is how it's going to end. They're going to send me off on a wild horse, and I'm going to die somewhere out in the wilderness. I wanted to look back at the youth group and go, y'all tell my mama I love her, okay? And they said, no. But see, we broke him. He is the most gentle horse now. But you got to use special reins that we broke him with. And he said he's got special commands that none of the other ones have. So this is what you got to remember, and they told him to me. And they said, he's going to be fine. You just get on there and you say, go. You ain't even got to say giddy up. Go. So I got on there and said, now you touch the side of his head, you call his name, and you say go. I touched the side of his head, I called his name, and he went. And boy, we were said, now if you think you can handle it, then say giddy up. Boy, I was like, happy trails to me. I'm looking, the kids are behind me. We're having a wonderful time. And then one boy, you always got that one. Ah, Brother Brian, my horse is faster than you. I'll beat you. Well, I said, I got you, buddy. Giddy up. Hi-ho, Blackie, we was off. That thing, he was going fast. I said, whoa. Now, you got to remember, he got different commands. He ain't going whoa when you say whoa. I'm like, whoa, and he's going, and I get my body in with his body, so we in rhythm. Now I'm like, oh, we getting it now. And I lean down like I'm a jockey. And I'm hitting it. And then we run by some trees. And my big horse, because he's big, knocks up against that tree just so slightly. When he knocks it down, he stirs up a hornet's nest. This is a fact I'm telling you with my hand up. Them bees started going, the hornets started going everywhere. I'm praying. The children are getting scared. The horses are going everywhere. But Blackie's still going. Finally, I leaned down and I said, Blackie, stop. Them bees come up and was stinging him. He just looked at me like, can we go now? I said, I turned him around. We rode back. I said, y'all come on. And we rode back, got him out of the hornet's nest. We got down, and all them kids, oh, Oh, Brother Brian and his horse delivered us from the hornets. Boy, that horse just calmed down, Brother Brian. How'd you do that? I didn't do it. See, that horse was broken. He wasn't broken like badly, but his will was broken to the will of the one that held the reins. And even in the midst of a hornet's nest, when everybody else was going wild, he was gentle and just said, let's go. He was waiting on a word from the one who had the reins. And see, when the hornets come out, if we've been broken by the master, if we've been gentled by the master, then we don't get all out of sorts because we're just listening to the one that holds the reins. And our commands don't sound like everybody else's. We got to be molded. So we mourn. We mourn. And then we're meek. Power under control. Gentle. We mourn. We're meek. And we're not misunderstood that we're nothing without him. That's how we navigate. We allow the master to mold us. He molds our attitude. He molds our character, meekness. He molds our heart, being broken to what he is broken for. I'll tell you this story, and I'll close. Several years ago, we were at a concert, and big youth group, and the group New Song was singing, and if you know anything about New Song, they have a song. We've done it here. We've acted the skit out called Arise, My Love, and it's about the resurrection of Jesus. And usually they have a video. I've seen them do it before, and I thought, oh, they're going to play the video, and it's going to be really cool, and they're going to get to that part where Jesus comes up, and then all the lights come out, and there's a picture on the screen of an empty tomb, and it's really cool, and I was getting excited, and then the lead singer comes out and says, we're going to do something different this year. Man. And they introduce this artist, and he comes up, and he has a canvas, and they start singing Arise, My Love. And while they're singing Arise, My Love, he's throwing paint on this canvas. I mean, just throwing it. And it looks like a hot mess. And they're singing my song. And I'm getting a little agitated. Because where's the lights? Where's the video? Where's the cool thing that gives me the goosebumps? We do that sometimes, don't we, when we're waiting on God? Where's the lights? Where's the smoke? Where's the miracle? Where's my goosebumps? God don't work that way. Arise, my love. Arise, my love. And he's throwing paint. And it just looks like an absolute disaster. And then the end of the song, it says, arise, arise. And they hit that high note, arise. And when they do, that artist took that whole canvas and flipped it. And when he flipped it, it was a picture of Jesus. And I was like this right here. I couldn't believe it. How did that mess turn into Jesus? How in the world? But see, when we follow the master and we tune in, things may look like a mess, but we got to remember, in the end, when it's flipped, it's all going to point to Jesus. When it's flipped, it's all going to point to him. And I want to live my life right now, even if it looks like things are going to Hades in a handbasket. I want to live my life so that when my life is over and it's flipped, it'll point to Jesus. While I'm living, it'll point to Jesus. Navigating these uncertain days, it all points to Jesus. We're going to close in prayer, and then we want to thank our live stream audience for watching. And if you may be watching going, I'm not a follower of Jesus, but you can be. Let him turn your life right side up. And for those of us that follow him, let him mold us. Happy are we. For it only comes from the inside out. Father in heaven, we thank you for this day. We thank you for your grace, your love, and your mercy. We thank you for this message. We pray that it would find good soil. We pray that you would help us, each one. If we're struggling in an area that we mentioned today,